in the right place. My mic runners have mics, so we're going to have some interaction tonight. Normally, in this time, we have been doing lately what I call networking by numbers. I break you up into groups of, 8 to 10, and we do some networking by numbers. But one, I didn't have the room. I didn't think we would fit to do that tonight with the stage in here. And I have some other announcements that I really want you to hear, so we just changed our mind. We get to do that. It's our party, right? All right. So, I should have brought glasses. So we're going to do something that's called buy-sell trade. How many people have participated in a buy-sell trade event? So Kyle knows what it is. Rachel knows what it is. Brian runs one regularly. So we have few people. I went to one in Ohio, at the Ohio REIA, not the Ohio REIA. I went to the CORE, which is in Columbus last week. And they did one. They started with their vendors. Everybody that has something they need to buy, so if you need a contractor to help out, hey, I need a contractor, call me at this number, and they can write you down. All the contractors in the room can come find you after the meeting or call you or text you. Or if you have a deal to sell, tell us what your deal is and how to reach you. Or if you need a partner, or if you need help. Somebody needed, who needed information in Arkansas? Somebody needs an Arkansas investor. So he needs help in Arkansas. So if there's somebody,
that's Tom.
Tom, I can't see if Tom's name tag. It's white. Tom Boozer back there was looking for some contracts in Arkansas. So we're going to start with our vendors. Vendors, you have 30 seconds to a minute. And we're going to start with Rob because I promised Rob he wanted to go to the baseball game. And he said, please, 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 can I go first? So Rob, 30 seconds.
Guys, Rob J. Real Estate Capital, money, fix and flips, fix and hold, buy and hold, refinance, new construction, no tax returns, no experience, high leverage and low rates in all 50 states. In 49 of them, I go 100% financing on my fix and flips. My number, 844-we close. It's 844-we close. Rob at jmrecapital.com. Thanks for your time.
We should have let him go first with that Yankees hat on.
I know. We should have smacked him. Flipped it right off. With your World Series ring, Kyle. Who's next? All right. Brendan.
Yeah, we're good. Hey, I'm Seth Martin with National Real Estate Insurance Group right here in Kansas City. This is our first time to come to this event. We're very, very happy to be here to see all of you guys. We are the nation's largest, longest running program that insures investment properties for people like yourselves. We do in all states. The convenience that you get with this program is bar none. It doesn't compare with anything else in the market for the convenience it gives you. By that I mean occupied, vacant, or under renovation is all in the same policy form. So if you've ever had to change your policy and get a new one, that doesn't happen with us. Once you're a client of ours, once you come on, we just add those and it goes into a monthly. So whether you have one location or you have 100, it's one account with one monthly billing cycle and it's all itemized. So if you'd like to get any information or have any questions, I'll stay in the back until after this is done. We can also be reached at www.nreig.com. Thank you.
And I want all of you that grab the handheld mic, picture in your head that you are on stage dressed like Steven Tyler and you're going to start dancing across the stage and you got to get that mic right in your face like this. That's how you talk on the mic. Hope y'all know who Steven Tyler is. All right.
I speak kind of loud. Real Tech LLC. We got some flyers over here if you want one. $335,000 loss. Why? Because I didn't do my due diligence. Sold the business back in July of last year. Carried the note for the buyer. $335,000. Pennies to some, a lot to some. I lost $335,000. I didn't do a background check, and that's what I do now. I'm your guy.
All these guys are on the business directory on the website too.
I'm Todd Wellholter with Heartland 1031 Solutions. I specialize in helping investors retire out of real estate, active management into passive income using what's called Delaware Statutory Trust. DST owns real estate, typically institutional quality real estate. That qualifies as like-kind property for a 1031 exchange. Feel free to contact me with any questions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Beth Langston with Flatbridge Home Loans. I've been a sponsor of MAREI since almost its inception and enjoy working with a full round of investors here. You can find me on the website, but I work with private lenders to refi loans off of, help your tenants buy your homes, and also help you access money for straight out purchases. If you need some creative structures, I love doing jigsaw puzzles to make a deal work, so give me a call if you want a portfolio analysis to find out where your money is, and I can help you access it.
I'm Alex Peterson. I'm a real estate agent and an investor, and I help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So my table's out there if you want any information.
Man, we got lots of vendors tonight.
Is this thing on?
Yes.
Hi, I am Christina Belgi, now Christina Hartman. I am with Prime Title and Escrow, and we are your bilingual title buddy. We are bilingual at both of our locations at 130th and Metcalf and in KCK, and we are the last stop on your road to building wealth through real estate. So let me know if you've got questions or if you would like to get a net sheet on the buy or sell side. Thank you.
Can I move, Kim? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can
I
move.
hate that everyone has to turn their heads.
Yeah,
Sorry. Can't help it. Can't help it. Can't help it.
well, we'll just see it. We might not be able to all be up here, and I'll have to see it back
That's
there.
what I thought. That's what I thought. So, I actually like talking in front of people. I used to work for a church. It was a lot of fun. Youth group, middle school youth group. All right, anyway, my name is Britton. I'm with Crossroads Investment Lending. We do 100% of your deal. Now we lend up to 70%. So as long as your deal is all in at a little bit below 70%, we can fund 100% of your deal. Usually we're closing in about 2 weeks. We do also offer DSCR. One more thing we do have, is it okay if I talk about my event tomorrow real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So tomorrow we have an event at our office. If you want to come back to our table, we can get you signed up for it. It's limited. Basically what we're going to talk about tomorrow is we have a panel of Lula and our construction manager going to talk about how to take care of rentals, what you need to do, really maintenance to make sure that your property's not falling apart and you don't know about it. Talk about inspections, how you look at it, how you place your tenant, what you look for in a tenant, how you make sure they're taking care of that. All that stuff, that's at 11 o'clock tomorrow to noon, and we do provide lunch.
Right.
Lunch
Who's
out.
next? Yeah, lunch.
What's for lunch?
I gotta get you off here. Take it back and give it to whoever you got it from. Kyle, who do you got?
All right, who has something they need to sell or something they want? Do you need a contractor? Do you need anybody? Raise your hand. I have a house for sale close to the stadiums, $275,000, I think of the price. 3 beds, 1,900 square feet of finished space, owner financing available, but don't lowball me, I know what we have.
Okay. Anybody else have a wholesale for sale?
We are looking for a contractor on a project that we're working on. It's a fourplex.
Where?
What kind of contractor?
General contractor. It's in Independence.
And how do they reach you? And who are you?
Steve Frazier, 816-394-3945.
All right. Any contractors in the room that work at Independence? We got some hands, some pointing. Okay.
I got one back here, Kim.
All right.
I have a wholesale deal. It's a duplex in Kearney. I posted it on the MAREI page a couple weeks ago, but it's, let's see, both sides are a 3-1. It needs about a 50K rehab, and it's currently listed at 205. And the ARV is a little over 320, 330-ish. So lots of room there. If anybody's interested, let me know. Oh, sorry. My name is LeAnn, and you can, my cell phone is 816-263-1708, or you can grab me for a card at some point tonight.
Bill.
Bill Lichtenegger. I am a flooring contractor. A couple years ago, I sold a whole full set of kitchen cabinets, and the customer didn't like them. They are in my garage. I would love to. I would love to not have them in my garage. Please, please, please. I've got cards out back. They are an off-white, have the little brown inlet. They're not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's a full U-shaped kitchen.
Are they paintable?
Yes.
All right.
I believe that's called make an offer.
All right, right.
Looking for tired landlords, those that still like their cash flow, but would like to get out of attendance and toilets. I'd love to speak to you. We have a deal that we can make with you.
And how do we find you, Brian?
Through Winvestors or anything, you can contact me. I've got a contact card. You can reach me here. But we also run, me and my wife run the Winvestors group. So.
And when is that?
It's a meetup group, a real estate meetup group that meets every Wednesday at 8:30 at the Iola Cafe. So it looks like you can come and have a cinnamon roll on me and then go to Brendan's office and have lunch on him. So come out and join us.
All right. Roman's got something for us.
My name's Roman. I've got a seller finance deal right now at a 5.5% interest rate, only $15K down, 2,300 square feet, turnkey in Kansas City, Kansas. And then I also have another property in Kansas City, Kansas, an acre of land with a house on top, about 30 to 40 in repairs. And we've got it at around 150,000 ARV, probably 260. And you can find me at 816-446-9471.
I got one here.
All right, over here.
I've got.
Stand up.
Got it?
Stand up.
Stand up.
Yeah. Gotta be able to see you.
I've got a wholesale deal in
Don't back up anymore.
Independence. It's a 2-2. It's ARV is 150. I've got it for 102.5. Make a great rental. So if you're interested, give me a call, 913-940-1961.
Your name's John.
Name is John. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Hi, you know me, Tom Boozer, tomboozer@gmail.com. I need 3 roofs in the next 6 months. And if there are any roofing contractors here, I sure want to talk to you.
We got right behind you.
That's how this works.
Right.
I had an offer for somebody to sing. Is that part of what this singing?
No, we're not going to do singing or ventriloquism. I know Serena has something to share. I believe she might have a meeting on Thursday, somewhere, sometime.
Yeah, I'm Serena Bales. I'm a local investor realtor. So if you need any resources, like roofer, contractor, like definitely can help you out also with those. The meeting is Thursday, this Thursday. It's cash flow. If you guys have ever heard of the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he created a board game that we love to host every second and fourth Thursday. It's a lot of fun. We have a kitchenette. We always have snacks. It's from 6:30 to 8:30.
Prairie Village, Keller Williams?
Yes, and I have flyers.
And what about Invest Her? No, okay. I wasn't sure. All right.
6:30 in the morning.
All right. got McKenna's got an event. I didn't have to see her there. She's hiding.
Hey guys. McKenna Zandecki. I have a new group that is every other Monday, so our next meeting is on next Monday, with Kyle. It's called New Investors. So if you are in this room, new to investing, any walk of life, we're talking about the road to getting started. So finding your deals, running numbers, finding capital, whatever that might be. We are at Eagle and Volkers in Town Center, Park Place, not across the street, Park Place. And we meet 6 to 8 p.m.
And Kyle is the guest speaker next Monday?
Kyle is the next speaker. Yes. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I couldn't find it. Google took me to the FedEx box in the alley.
Maybe that was on purpose.
I know. All right. We got anybody else that needs help, needs to sell, needs to buy, has some extra parts they need to get gone?
We got one more back here.
All right.
Hello, I'm Melanie King with Keller Williams. I have a listing. It's going to be full retail, sorry, but it's an Olathe, 4 bedrooms, 5 baths. It's coming on the market on Thursday, listing about 5:30. In case you're interested, full, ready to go. In case it'd be a beautiful rental.
All right, we got time for one more. Rich and then Jamie. Because Jamie gets 5 minutes, but we'll give Jamie the same.
But you don't, so.
Jamie's
All right.
got something special.
Real quick, anybody in here invests in Iola, Kansas? All right, never mind, thanks.
All right, I don't know how many of you are interested in politics, but how many of you own property in Jackson County, Missouri? How many got your assessments last week and now your residential property is now a commercial property and your taxes are 3 times higher? How many people had a residential, an agricultural property that's rural Jackson County and now it's residential and I don't know what that did to your taxes? Jamie's here to tell us a few things about that.
Hi, friends.
Girl, hiss, no.
I'm Jamie Zems with the Kansas City Short-Term Rental Alliance, and we could use your help, whether you have a short-term rental or not. As Kim said, many of us just got our assessments, and if you have a regular property, probably your taxes went down, which is lovely because they're finally reversing some of what they did to us in 2023. If you have a short-term rental, your taxes went up, sometimes doubling or tripling. Yay! So why? And there was one girl I heard, her house is around $350,000 and her taxes went to $14,000. That's what our county's doing to us. So why? Why is this happening? There's a trend right now across Missouri. There's 6 or 7 counties where the assessors are changing our designation from residential to commercial. What's interesting is that bed and breakfasts are considered residential and they are taxed residentially by law. Our assessors are having fun playing with the rest of us. Not fun. So we would like to be considered residential just like them. We did try to pass a bill statewide to kind of ease it, like going county by county to fight our battles. So we tried to pass a bill statewide to get us classified permanently as residential. We are located mostly in residential areas, just like bed and breakfasts, and it just makes sense that we would be taxed that way. So that bill it just didn't make it to the table at the end of the game. We got really far, but come end of Senate, there was some filibuster on a totally separate issue that just brought Senate to a close early, so now we have to wait until next spring and hopefully get passed at that point. In the meantime, our Jackson County assessor has gone ahead and reclassified all short-term rentals in Jackson County as commercial. This has raised taxes from 19% to 32%.
Did she legally do that unilaterally?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked that question. She asked if they can do that unilaterally. That is the sticking point that we are attempting to bring to the table, is that, so if we're in a city like Kansas City, Independence, etc., where you have to register with that city if you have a short-term rental, she got the list. You've been targeted. But if you are in a city where they do not require you to register your short-term rental, you're not on the list. So you probably aren't getting taxed and reclassified the way the rest of us are. So by definition, this makes it illegal because it is not applied equitably across all of the different classification, across all the short-term rentals. So A, it's illegal. Awesome.
You also have all the small businesses that operate out of their residential. Then if they're going to do that to short term, they need it. So you got all these people that work from home, have their businesses, all these contractors. So that comes into play.
Well, and just as a side note, here Jackson County illegally taxed everybody 2 years ago. So that's millions of dollars that the county is now out of They no longer are gonna get that in 2025, so they're going after other people to get those monies.
So what can they do now? What do you need them to do now?
Well, before we get to that, what's interesting is our timing on this, because what's gonna happen in a year? We've got 650,000 people coming to our city. And according to FIFA, they are fine if those people stay up to 2.5 hours away. And they're gonna have to, because we cannot, I know people think that short-term rentals are this cash cow, and if you have one, you know that's not true. We maybe earn a little bit more than a long-term rental, but it's a smidge more. So we cannot take taxes that are at 32% and still survive. So there is, on the table right now, we are attempting to pass an ordinance. Sean Smith introduced it at the county yesterday. It will be voted on next Monday. So we have time. What the ordinance is going to do, it is proposing that the county assessor wait until after the World Cup, at least, before implementing this reclassification. So right now, Sean has been successful at getting some of the legislators on board with this vision, and some are on the fence, and some might even be a no. So it actually will make a difference if people in this room, or if you know somebody in Jackson County, if they can contact their legislator and say, hey, we would really like you to pass this legislation to pause this crazy little taxation until after the World Cup, that would be great. So please just reach out to your senator or your legislators either by email, by phone call, or ideally meet them and let them know that you would like them to vote yes on this. I do have this flyer. There's one on the back table, or you can come see me. There's a QR code. It'll take you right to their website where you can get all of their emails and phone numbers, or you can get them right off of my flyer. So, and please, if you know people who have short-term rentals, not everybody knows that we exist, the Kansas City Short-Term Rental Alliance. We are formed in order, for this reason, to educate our industry about what's happening at the state level, what's happening at the city, the different city levels, so that we can all have a voice and be together in this hopefully not dying industry.
All right.
Thank you.
Give it back to Kyle or Brendan, or we'll just leave it right here. We'll put it up here. All right, it's live, it's hot. So whoever sits over there, it's live, it's hot. So what do you think? I will be putting that, I will email it out to everybody, so as long as I have your email, I will send that out to you tomorrow, or you can grab the flyer and scan the QR code. If your internet works in here, it's being really a pain in the butt tonight. We've been having challenges with it, so. But I will email that out, or you can also go on the MAREI blog, and I have an article on that. Oh, I'm not on. There we go. All right, we turn it on, helps. But I will email that out to everybody. But I got a few more announcements before we get started. Is that cool? Has everybody got a newsletter on your chair? I got lazy, no PowerPoint for me tonight, huh? So grab your newsletter. I'm going to run through a few things. The rehab field trip. Our person with the house bailed on us. So we are working on replacing the house. We may or may not have a house. So if you have a house that you will still own on the 21st of June that needs rehab, and you would let 40 of us walk through it, we would love to come walk through your house. So get with me after the meeting or tomorrow, but we do have a backup plan because this lovely house we're going to talk about tonight, Dawn rehabbed it, and we got some doozies of pictures. So we can pretty much show you everything that's wrong with it right now tonight, but Don can walk you through his thought process if it's any different than Brian and everybody else's thought process back there. So we'll see. We're going to figure out the field trip. Saturday the 21st. It will either be online or virtual. We have a lot of other houses we can do virtually too. You can grab the calendar. You can also go to the calendar of events. Everybody's already told you all their events they've got going on. The case study house. If you wanted to look at the actual comps, if you wanted to, you can download the pictures. You can also grab links here in the newsletter to get to the comps and more notes from wherever if you want to do your own analysis. Legislatively speaking, that's what JB was talking about. At the very bottom, there was a link to an original article that went with this. Well, we've updated it. That article's updated with the latest information that came out this morning after the meeting last night. What else do we have? Deal evaluation. How many people need a spreadsheet to go walk a house so you can crunch the numbers? Y'all have your own spreadsheets. You're ready to go. You can just write them all down and calculate them with a calculator. Well, everybody likes a spreadsheet. And I found that there's a whole bunch of free ones on BiggerPockets. So you can Google them. You can go to my article in the newsletter. There's a QR code. You can grab them and download them. There's a simple one from Flipper Force, which is right here in Kansas City. And then there's like a doozy of a one, like on steroids, every item in the house. Probably what Gene uses. But that is on BiggerPockets.
What's a computer?
Okay. Got some articles there. Trade show. Trade show is this time next month. How many people have been to the trade show here? Half the room? Come on, I know more people were here last year. This room, all the way to that wall, packed wall-to-wall sardines. Wasn't quite that packed. We had a little bit of air and breathing space, but it was very busy. We had almost 300 people walk through here. We have 30-ish vendors. I want to say 34 vendors. I think that's how many tables I got worked out. So you can come in and see what they have to offer, learn from them. If you have something to offer, come reverse network the room and hand out your flyers to all the vendors, because the vendors know people too. So come in, network, exchange. If you can come in for an hour, great. If you can come all evening, great. So check out the trade show. It's free for everybody to attend. All the vendors that we're talking, they should be here in the business directory. I got 2 minutes, Brian, 2 minutes. And we'll keep going, keep going. How many people here are members? Where's all my members? Raise them proud. How many people have been a member for 5 years? How many people have been members for 10 years? How about my 20-year people? 15? 20-year people. Kim's been here. Brian and Michelle have been here since, I think you joined in about 2007. But I know I was looking at pictures from an event we did at the Adams Mark. My phone says it's 7:30. At the Adams Mark, and Kim was in that picture. I'm like, oh wow, man, were we like 12? I felt 12. And then at the very back, we have a BOGO, buy one, get one free for those people that don't go shopping at, where is it, Skechers. We have a BOGO sale, buy one, get one free. We have a master class coming up this Saturday with Bina Jones-Cox. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to attend this. She's going to go through desktop underwriting. So when the seller calls and said, I got this deal, and you're like, it's a deal, I don't know, should I go look at it or should I not, should I stay here? She's going to show you how to go through all the desktop underwriting so you can decide if you want to go make an offer, come up with a rough offer from your desk without even getting out of your chair. I taught that class once a long time ago. Is it a deal or not? Should I get out of my chair? That was my title. She's doing that on Saturday, June 14th. And then we have a second class. And this guy has, his thing is profit first. So you're making all your profit from all your deals, but are you keeping all your profit? His article was, you're doing all this work and you're making all this money, but you're still broke. Why? And it might be your business structure's wrong, your tax structure might be wrong. You might just not have the mindset, and you might not be putting the money back. He's got a second master class. I haven't quite got through the whole concept. Brian is nodding his head. So Brian, what is profit first?
Putting away some of that profit and not using it, and I'll talk about that when I get over.
Okay, perfect. So that's buy one, get one free. So one class is $47, the second one is free. You can sign up for that tonight. You can't get that on the internet. It doesn't work. I don't know how. But if you fill out that form and give it to me or Holly before you leave, we will get you signed up for both classes. If you're already signed up for the desktop underwriting, we'll add the other one on for you. So that's what I had. I'm going to ask my speakers to join me up here, and we'll see if our microphones will just completely drive each other crazy. If they will, I will figure out something else. I will go to the back of the room.
Key the music. Come on.
So we have Erica and Alex Peterson. They are advocating for rehabbing and flipping the house. Brian Winberry is going to advocate for renting it out, maybe. And then LeAnn is going to help us figure out if it will be a good pad split. Probably not as it sits, but she might have some ideas for us to make it a good pad split. So we're going to let Brian tell us, like, in 1 minute who Brian is and a little bit more about profit first. You get 2 minutes because you're going to talk about profit first.
Me and Michelle run Winvestors. We've been investing in Kansas City for probably about 20 years now, and doing different things. And obviously, there's not much that we haven't done except for a lot of commercial, but we're definitely in the note space. So that's who me and Michelle is. I was going to talk to you about profit first. I mean, a lot of times, and I'm going to get into this a little bit in my 15 minutes. Profit first, lots of times we don't consider our profit first. We don't put enough back. We turn around and say, okay, we got profit, especially landlords. Landlords turns around and say, okay, I'm cash flowing this much a month and everything, and they call that profit. But eventually, they dive into their profits because when the roof needs to be changed, when the water heater needs to be changed and everything, but they still call profit. They're still calling their monthly income or monthly take profit, but nothing has really been put back. So you have to put your profit back and leave it to the side and leave it as profit. But when you're having to dig into your cash flow each month, basically this guy is real good. I've talked to him, and he teaches actually how to structure your business and make sure that you set aside the actual profit and you don't touch it. You know, touch it for your family or whatever, but lots of times we'll actually pull back from the family or pull back from your other LLCs just to cover some other things but we believe that we're all cash flowing or we're all making money. But he actually designs a program and actually breaks it down to you, and it's a great opportunity, especially when I was saying that we were looking for tired landlords. I can almost tell you that every landlord believes that they're cash flowing, and I believe some of them are, but we can talk about that.
Okay, let's go to LeAnn because we'll just do this side and then we'll do this side. So LeAnn, tell us about yourself in one-ish minutes.
My name is LeAnn Hiatt. I am a property manager by trade. I do all things real estate. My property management company is Sterling Home Rentals. And we also do rehabs and we flip and hold mainly for all of our investors. We work with third-party investors and also joint venture companies. And through that, we started into the PadSplit world. And so we manage for PadSplits as well. And we've also rehabbed a couple and sold some for PadSplits to be operated as PadSplits. So all things real estate, property management, investments, all the things.
All right, and Alex and Erica, you can touch the microphone, it's allowed.
I'm Erica, this is Alex. We're husband and wife, and we flip properties, and we're both real estate agents, and we work with investors a ton, and we help people buy and sell houses, and then we also flip houses, so.
All right, we're gonna let Alex talk.
I really don't like talking in front of people. I'm just sitting up here with her. I can add in where I need to, but
okay.
She's the boss anyway.
So we have another thing we're learning tonight. This is not the topic, but it's the side topic is how to invest in real estate with your spouse. And I really wanted to give Michelle the mic so she could heckle Brian, but she wouldn't do it. So she's going to heckle him without a mic. But we're also, Alex and Erica are giving a husband and wife perspective. So I'm going to give us a disclaimer. We don't know anything other than what we have done in our own businesses. But what we do and what you do might not be the same. So what I know might make me do something differently than what you do. So before you go buy a house, sign on a mortgage, do anything, consult with your trusted advisors that know what they're doing, your attorneys, your CPAs, more experienced folks, to make sure what you're thinking about doing fits your needs, because my needs might be different, their needs might be different. They're just telling you from their experience what works, which is probably great, but it might be just a little bit different from you. So always get some advice. So you can all, have anybody looked at the pictures of the house? I tried real hard to get you to look at the pictures of the house. Some of you did. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to run through them real fast. And we're not going to get down to the granular rehab cost or what every little nip and cranny needs fixed because we don't have time for that. But I wanted to give you a rough estimate. You can download the slides. Hopefully you've done that if you wanted to. This house is a house Don and I rehabbed in 2022, 2023, I really don't know. So the roof was not brand new, but it was good. The gutters were not new, but they were in great shape. It was vinyl siding. It was in good shape. It was just moldy and mildewy everywhere. And the owner that sold us the house was blind, so he had an overabundance of railings. So I don't know if we need to move those railings or not, but there was a lot of them. And you couldn't walk down the sidewalk. And you'll understand the green bedroom when you get inside too. We were missing a water spout. That was a simple fix. Don told me, I don't have a picture of the garage door falling apart, but Don said the garage door did need to be replaced. It's an old wooden woods from probably the original. So yeah, it needed to be replaced. Siding. He hadn't raked the yard in a long time, so we had a mud spot where all the leaves had fallen. This is the back. That door in the back goes into, so it's a tri-level. You walk into the living room, kitchen, and dining room. You can walk up to the bedrooms. You can walk down to the lower level, and then you can go another set of stairs to the basement. So hopefully we can keep that in mind. That door went into a den or a bedroom in the lower level. There was no access to the upper level to the backyard. That was the mast going to the 100 amp meter. Don told me those were fairly new. I don't know. I didn't look close. We have a great big giant air conditioner condenser, and you can't see that from the back, but there's a date sticker on that it was manufactured in 2007. Lovely giant backyard. Nice chain link fence where it didn't have wood fencing. Driveway was perfect. I don't even think there was a crack in it. How you get a driveway that old, that good shape? But he didn't drive, so hey! And he never put a car in the garage either, so we didn't need a garage door opener. Didn't have one, had no power to put one in. Based on that, at the front door, we think there's hardwoods underneath all of those carpeting. And when we went and pulled back all the 1970s shag rugs, there was hardwood floors under them. It has those lovely beams. It was a high vaulted ceiling. And we had this lovely wall between the kitchen and dining room. Yeah. That took hours and hours of conversation. The rest of the living room with the lovely brown shag goes into the dining room. This is the reverse of the living room. Outlets, what's wrong with these outlets? They don't have enough holes in them, do they? They will not run anything, so we had to decide if they were grounded or not. I have no idea why they would be grounded when there's no 3 holes in them, but hey, they were not. How do we find out how do we tell if there's grounded?
Lick it.
You lick it? Okay. Now we know why you're in Iola, Kansas. All right. What's the better way to tell if they're grounded? There's a meter. This meter, yeah. Don had like 400 of them. I don't know. There was one in every car. Never used one in my life, but I always had Don, so. And all the stuff, sorry, the guy was moving out. That's how all the houses are. And then we had this lovely thin wall between the dining room and kitchen, and you look at all the HGTV pictures online, and what do? Take it out. Then the house is going to fall down, so you got to do something about that. These guys will sell us what they think. The reverse, that window is in the dining room to the backyard. Half of the comps had a patio door or French doors. The other half did not. That house now has them because the person that bought it for one, but we didn't. This is our lovely kitchen. I don't think those are 1950 cabinets. What do you think? Those are 50s, 70s. How many saw Don with a green cell phone? I did some marketing and Don brought a green cell phone to a class. Came out of this house. still have it. God, you know those wall green avocado lawn cord? Yeah. We have one of those. It's right there. Right there. It's in my house.
Well, talking about that phone, I thought you were talking about like
So if you come in the front living room, dining room, kitchen, we got stairs to the lower level, stairs to the upper level. There was some giant stove there at one time, so they had made some makeshift cabinets. We have 1950s Formica countertops. They look like they're in really good shape. And the dishwasher's been leaking since 1972, and all of those rugs are layers upon layers upon layers of rugs because there's a hole in the floor from the water. And then we go up the stairs. There's the thermostat at the top of the stairs, so you know where it's at.
I like that tea.
And I missed some words there. This was my contention. This is a lovely bathroom, and I think I have another picture, but we don't know what that is. Whatever this box is, maybe it was a dumbwaiter or a laundry chute, but there's stacks a day in a box. And then on the other side is this cabinet, is a linen closet. And I thought we could just rip them out and make the bathroom bigger. That was my thought. But this is the bathroom. Behind this door is a sink, toilet, shower with a window, and then this big giant vanity. And I looked at the comps. All the houses are like this. And this is the vanity behind the door. And the lovely for linoleum. I don't even think it's vinyl. I think it is really linoleum from the 50s. And the tile looks like it's wonderful, but it's ugly. And I think there were a few pieces missing. The mirror was rusty, the lights were kind of rusty. This was he did not know what color that was, but the master bedroom. I'm supposed to be nice. Okay, I'm almost there. The master bedroom floor is pristine. Don't know why. The windows all look like this. They're all rotted out, original window, single pane. Second bedroom, front corner of the house, and then the third bedroom. Then we go down to the lower level. We have a lovely bathroom down there. It's a big bathroom, stuck for a shower, but there is no water. We have a sink, no mirror, an outlet, and then the lovely toilet. Lovely bathroom. The family room in the basement, and then this little den with the door that goes to the backyard. The den. We brought all those storage boxes home. We used that. Stairs to the sub-basement or the basement, whatever we want to call it. We sold the couch. Oh wow. We came to the couch. Sliding doors. Then we have a room that they've cut out all the drywall. Why do we cut out drywall? What does that mean? So we've had water damage in this room. The water meter's right here. And that's just a support pole. And then we have a little sink right here. There is another abandoned room on the back side of this wall here. And then the washer and dryer and furnace and hot water heater are all back here. So there's more of the room. This is the second room. Wash sink. That's over the sink, we think. I couldn't remember where that was. And then this is the laundry room. And this is over the laundry room, which is all rotted out from all the water from the dishwasher. And that's a gas line, I think, because it's got the yellow sticker on it. And I don't know, we got all this stuff. And we have a lovely furnace, hot water heater, and the constant light comes across all the walkway to the drain line. And then we have, I can't read it. The furnace is dated 2012, and the hot water the furnace is dated, what does that say? 2007?
Probably matched probably CAC out back.
All right, 2015 and 2012. And that's what I got. All right, I'm only 1 minute over. So Brian, do we rent it or not?
That's a good question. You know,
What do you think?
Everybody, you're going to tell me. Okay.
What's the number?
Man.
Oh, where is it? It is
This is,
We don't know. It's in Kansas City or Gladstone.
yeah.
Every site I looked at had a different answer.
How much did you pay for it? Or how much was it listed for?
We'll see what Brian will pay for it.
What
He
am I
wanted,
gonna pay for it?
he wanted, I think, 150.
Okay.
Okay. Did you give 150 for it?
I think so.
Okay, all right, well, and you gotta consider, the market changes all the time, so when I looked at the numbers and I looked at the pictures and everything.
For today.
For today, it totally changes. I mean, 2022 was a time that everybody was rushing out there and getting property and everything, and from the interest rates were lower and everything, so obviously, you know, looking at it from this standpoint. But she asked me to analyze this from the standpoint that we're in today.
Today.
And today's market, it does not make sense to me to actually rent this property. If the purchase was 150 from this side of it, and looking at it, what I would have to do to actually rent it and everything, obviously my rehab's gonna be a little bit less, but at the same point, when I look at this, and DSCR loan is generally 70%, and pulling that out. So I was looking at this on a 30-year, 7% loan, doing $30,000 in rehab on this deal. It does not, I mean, it doesn't really cash flow. My cash flow on that side is obviously, let's see here. Rents, let's just get to the rents first before I do this. Rents in the neighborhood was $1,477. Obviously, the rents have gone up a little bit, and the range now is $1,477 to $1,800. So looking at it and holding it from that side of it and still running the numbers. But I'm gonna have to put money in this deal to actually get my DCR loan. And obviously I'm gonna be holding a little bit of that from that side. Now, landlords look at this deal and they say, okay, yeah, I can do this, it's a good property. And I would say that anytime that you can hold a property, I mean, this is the time to hold for wealth and everything from this side of it. But lots of times landlords skimp. And I would tell you, I'm one of the ones that has skimped before, but it has cost me, when you look at your overall portfolio, you never know when the roof is going to go out, or, you know, the water heater, furnace, or anything like that. And if you didn't address some of the issues right there on that, on this deal, eventually they're going to come up. You're going to say, okay, you're cash flowing, you're still cash flowing approximately $500 on this deal. If you kept it from that side, you know, your payment is, about $500 on cash flow. So keeping that from that cash flow and everything, and not addressing all the other things that you may experience, we may say that, okay, we're profiting from that side. Our insurances are changing now. They're wanting 2%. They're not, you know, like they used to be, where if we got hailstorm or storm or something like that, we could claim the whole thing, but they're actually charging us back the deductibles and also the 2% on the wear and tear and all that. So we actually, you know, look at that, and that costs you a lot more, especially as insurance has changed throughout the country. So looking at this, and I said, this is not a deal for that. I mean, I guarantee you these guys over here is going to beat it up the other way, and it could be doable from that. But I'm looking at it from a seller finance situation. So from a rental standpoint, if I had to take this property and I'm looking at building wealth from this standpoint, it doesn't meet the rent criteria, because there's going to be so many things that may go wrong later on that is going to take down my cash flow. But if I could give a deserving couple to own this house, and that they could make homeowners out of it and not have to do it like you guys did it when you rehabbed it and everything, I don't have to go that far. I want the bones to be good. I want the roof. I want the, you know, furnace, AC. I want to address those issues. I want to address the windows. I'll probably put windows in this thing and address those things right there. The major things when you're seller financing, you want to address. You want to address those issues. And addressing those issues, I mean, obviously, I'm putting less in it. I believe when I looked at this, and there was $50,000 worth of work put in there, but I'm probably going to put $30,000 in there maybe a little bit less, all depending. So the seller finance side of it works a whole lot better. And then selling it on seller finance, obviously from that point, their taxes and insurance, or their payments will be right at $1,709, with taxes and insurance are at $300. So we're right at $2,000 in payments on this. But they're the homeowner. And what I like about being the bank, you know, just like your bank, they don't get the phone calls, toilets and tenants and everything from that side, and they still cash flow the interest on that throughout. So there's an opportunity there. And that's what we're doing actually on our side. We're looking at some of these, and there's obviously opportunity for passive income for those that are still renting or wanting to get out of the rental business and still keep their cash flow. But this meets the criteria better on a seller finance deal for us. And so when I looked at it, I mean, obviously you guys did a great job in rehabbing it and everything, but today's market, I mean, obviously today's market, I would have bought this a lot cheaper too, you know. In fact, I will tell you that Kyle mentioned he's got a listing. It matches this house exactly, except that it's got a 2-car garage and it's the split level or tri-level, and it matches this totally. And we're so they're offering seller finance on that deal, and it works all the way through.
So to seller finance, what would what would you repair?
So repairing on this, I mean, obviously the windows. You know, I'd look at the furnace, water heater, all the major things, you know, from that side. The major repairs that a typical homeowner is going to actually take a look at, you know, that you're going to cover. You know, if you can cover, the life of the roof, I'm going to look at the life of the roof. I'm going to look at everything from that side of it, and I'm going to analyze it and see what needs to be done.
How much life do you need?
How much life? Well, you're financing for 30 years, so you know obviously nothing lasts 30 years. But at the same point, you know when you're looking at seller finance and everything, you want them to get down the road. Obviously, everybody's hoping that the interest rates will change and everything from this point. And what we're offering is, you know, even on a seller finance, $250,000 value, we're taking $37,500 down. You know. And that's 15%. That leaves them $212,500 on the loan. 9% interest at 30 years is $1,709. So by going 9%, obviously, if they can qualify or when they qualify, they're gonna refinance. The typical American that owns a house, they refinance every 5 to 7 years. They pull their cash out. You know, so if somebody comes along and they can pull cash out of this house, they're going to do it. They're going to refinance you from that side, and you're going to cash out. So I'm only in this deal as short term, but if I'm in the long term, I'm fine with it too.
So would you do anything with the kitchen?
The kitchen?
At least
that's a good, yeah.
At least the floor under the dishwasher.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to dress the floor and different things like that.
But you'd probably let them keep the cabinets?
No, I probably would. I'd probably take out the cabinets.
Okay, Bill's got some cabinets for you.
Yeah, I'd find a guy like Bill and take his cabinets, dress it up, you know, address those issues. I mean, I don't want to, you know, the holes in the walls or in the floor or different things like that we're going to address. I want to actually take the basement. I'm going to take the walls out in the basement. I'm going to open it up and give options to the homeowner. I mean,
that's what we did.
Kyle's got one over in Independence, and they took out the walls in the basement and everything, and the whole basement area, the lower area, is actually just open, and it's nice. I'll probably paint the floor gray, black the ceiling maybe, the walls white and everything, white box it from that point, and give them an opportunity to do what they want to do with it. You know.
Would you just rip out the carpet, go down the hardwood, and just let them deal with the hardwood? Because most of it was in good shape.
So. It was in good shape. Well,
except for that one room.
And that's a good thing. I mean, in that one room, I believe that one room. Which room was that?
It was like the third bedroom.
Third bedroom. In that third bedroom, bedrooms, carpet's cheap. on bedrooms.
Bill's got that too.
Yeah, Bill can cover me on that, so carpet's cheap on something like that. I'm just saying I'm not gonna go full rehab. And you gotta watch that. I mean, back in 22, you probably wanted to do a full rehab. We had to get rid of property because, I mean, you get the best out of them because everything, I believe in 22, everything went over market.
This one we sold for what, 30 over list?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you said. So we got to look at it. And in this market right now, you're not having to do much. But at the same point, and when you're looking at holding the property and everything, or seller financing, I mean, you're not going to have to do much. And I think that's the opportunity that you have because they're building well. I mean, obviously, everybody's building their portfolio. I do have a portfolio of rentals, but I also know that getting the phone calls from the tenants and about the toilets and everything else is a hassle. But if you can hold that and cash flow the same on the other side and not have those phone calls and not have to pay the taxes, the insurance and everything from that side, and your buyer is actually taking care of that. And obviously, those even our investors are looking for that same cash flow. So there's opportunities even on this where they can get on the front side of this, and they don't have to have a rental. A rental like this. I mean, can you consider that? You got the market was for you guys. I mean, obviously 30 over market.
I think
30 or whatever it was.
25 or 30.
You're not going to do that now, and if you're going to hold that. You're going to hold a lot more money in this deal to actually seller finance it. You're going to have a lot more money in this deal but it's going to build well from that side. So in doing that, but it's better to look what you can do now. And I think there's a lot more people out there that is looking. I think the stigma in Kansas City is when anybody is offering seller finance, they think that you're desperate. It used to be for sale by owner or seller finance. Everybody looked at, he just needs to get out of it. And I think that's the mentality of some people in Kansas City. They think, okay, well, you're seller financing it because you got to get out of it. And I think that's the reason why Kyle said, hey, don't lowball me. Because some people are coming in and doing it. But then there's other people that understand it quite well, and we work out the deal. We work out the deal, how much they can put down, where they actually want to be, where that payment needs to be. So the opportunity from this side of it is on a seller finance deal, I can actually work out the payment where you want it to be, and work out the financing from that point. Your interest may be a little bit higher, or your interest may be a little bit lower with a bigger down payment, and you can still get the payment and the security of owning the house. I'll tell you that I have a house in Independence that the neighbor next door has been renting, and they're in the 50s right now, and they're looking to buy because they put their kids in college but never considered it, and he's tired of living in a rental house that he can't put money into. There's things that he'd like to do to the house, and it's like, okay, now he's looking. And obviously putting his kids in college and everything, I talked to him. He's more interested, and there's more guys out there like this that is more interested in seller finance. And if you can make a deal work for them and work with them, you can make a deal work like this.
And if we want to learn how to do seller financing, do we just come to you, or is there a good book they could read, or a good educator to listen to?
Well, obviously you can look me up. I've got a card, and me and Michelle is definitely going to put a we'll meet up on seller finance and notes, and obviously the opportunity is there. So you can reach out to us. Also, you can come to Winvestors and talk to us every Wednesday morning, 8:30 in the morning, and meeting starts at 9:30. And hang
Free
out.
cinnamon rolls.
Yep, free cinnamon rolls. Okay, so.
Or virtual if you don't want to drive that far.
So let me ask, how many is in this room that goes to Winvestors? Raise your hand. Okay, guys, all the hands I see that went up has been with Winvestors. How many has been with Winvestors for over 5 years? 10 years. There you go.
Since when investors started.
And we meet every Wednesday. Now, this is a once a week meeting. And these guys that are
They
that
take
actually
Christmas off.
Huh?
You take Christmas off.
Yeah, take Christmas off, take, maybe possibly New Year's. But, when you look around the room, some of the guys that are attending, these are heavy hitters. I mean, Eric as well as Brendan and some of the other guys, Gene, they're heavy hitters. They're in the market, and if I left their name out, I apologize. But there's a lot of guys that has been coming, and we just beat up the market, and we actually try to see exactly how we can make a deal, and the best deal. So obviously that's what Kim's doing tonight as we beat this deal up. You're going to see a lot of different opinions of what they can do and everything. So it'll be interesting to hear.
All right. So Alex's support and Erica's going to talk, huh? All right. He's just going to poke her when she's wrong.
That's what he does.
Actually,
He's like,
that's what Don and I
have
do.
to say this. So, I
You're a flip.
Yes, so we're flippers. This is what we would do as a flip. So we love hardwood floors. They're like finding a gold mine for us. We love them. So I would refinish all the hardwood floors, put new windows in, brand new kitchen, all new appliances, cabinets, countertops, backsplash, fix the subfloor that we don't want any rugs holding anything up. That's no good. We would ground the outlets. That's a big deal. We would completely remodel the main bathroom. That includes new bathroom flooring, shower, tile, toilet. We'd probably resurface the tub if it was salvageable, a new vanity, and then any plumbing, because I was under the impression that leaking spot was under that bathroom, but maybe I'm wrong. But if it needed the plumbing, then obviously the plumbing would get fixed there. We would put in a new garage door. Curb appeal is big, so I've been in real estate for almost 10 years. And I can tell you, 99% of the time, buyers make a decision on whether they want the house before they even get out of the car. Like, I literally have people get out of the car and be like, I don't want to look at this house. So curb appeal is huge. So whatever you can do to the front of the house, do it.
What about all those rails? Oh, that's probably it.
Yeah, it's in there. Okay, and then, like I said, fix the subfloor. I would put new carpet in the basement, open it up and make it just a big room. So paint there, probably black the ceiling, unfinished there. And then in the basement, floor, new flooring there. I was kind of under the impression.
The lower level or the sub-basement?
The basement bathroom.
Basement bathroom.
Yes. I was under the impression that there might have been some asbestos tile in there, so I probably kind of
possibly
floating tile over that so I wouldn't have to mess with that. And then I would put the plumbing in for the shower and things like that in that bathroom. Like I said, landscaping, interior paint. I would power wash the siding. It looked like it was in pretty good condition on the exterior. Remove the railings, and then landscaping, some drywall repair, and then of course a contingency. I think it would take me about 8 weeks to do. So 8 weeks for rehab, and then a month or two on the market and in escrow. So with our closing costs and holding costs, it looks like we would be all in, if we offered the 150 that you guys offered, we would be all in right around 300 or 232.5. I comped this today at around 280, 290. If we were on the top side of that, then our profit after all the holding costs and everything would be around 57. So this would be a deal that we would take.
And the comps were all over the board from like 275 to 300, and the 300 was the lesser house.
It was.
Over the 275 was like Taj Mahal.
Yeah,
it made no
it's
sense.
interesting. Why I was confused as well, but that's where I would put it. I probably would list it at 280 just to hopefully push it up a little bit, but.
So you take that back window out and put a slider there?
I would probably leave it.
You leave it? Okay.
If all the comps had a door, I'd put a door in. But if most of them didn't, and they're paying that much anyway, then there's not really a point in changing that out, but.
I take sliders out, I don't even mess with, I need sliding doors, patio doors, boy, that's bam.
Yeah.
What about the wall? What was your impression of the wall?
That's a what?
Taking the wall out between the kitchen and dining room.
I would leave it. So it looked, obviously it's holding the house up.
Structural.
And there's not, in my opinion, the living room was very like skinny. So I felt like even if we did take it out and put in an island, then you're taking a lot, like if you're having seating there, you're taking a lot of wall space away for that small living room, as well as cabinet space away in the kitchen, and it's gonna cost you extra money. So I would leave it and use it.
I would hire a structural engineer before I do anything with the wall. See what's happening with the house.
Yeah.
Well, it's a given, it's a structural wall. We don't need to know, but we would have to have an engineer to take the wall out.
To take the wall down, you'd have to have an engineer.
Because you'd have, but.
If you're gonna leave it.
The big question, one, does it matter if it's in Kansas City, Missouri, or Gladstone?
It does.
Yes.
There's different taxes in Kansas City. A lot of things in Kansas City are not allowed, like Airbnbs and such like that. There's all kinds of different things. Schools, permits. I mean, there's all kinds of different things.
I think also you limit like your police department, certain officers' departments can't buy, they have to live in that city, so you limit.
Well, you don't
at that price point too.
That's zip code though. Kansas City employees can live in that zip code.
Oh, okay.
So the only way we could determine what city it was in, because the realtor's website said it was in Kansas City, Missouri. Some of the online sites said it was in Gladstone. Some of them said it was in Kansas City, Missouri. The title work said it was in Gladstone. So we believe the title company. Now the title company could have been wrong, but that's what the title said.
That's what I would have done. I always believe the title company. I feel like
Eric, you'll have to speak up loud. I know your hand's up.
So I'll run it up for you. You can be in one tax district, but in another addressing scheme via the post office. So that's, I live in one of those right now. So, were you guys gonna flip it or rent it out?
Yeah, we would flip it.
These are the flippers.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that sold financing.
Nobody's gonna rent this out?
I didn't want to rent it out. I mean, the market, when I looked at the numbers and everything, I'm not interested in having that much cash in this deal because their purchase price is $150, and they just got there saying they're going to have $237 in it. And when we turn around, all depending on what the appraisal comes back to, the DSCR is going to come down 70%, and I was figuring we were going to be in this deal. Let's see here, 175. Them numbers don't really work with it. Yeah, with the new numbers, it doesn't really work. I mean, this number doesn't work. But I was looking at it from the number side of it. If they're pulling comps from that much, we were pulling comps, and I was figuring DSCR was going to be 70%, and I was at 175. But I was still coming in with $30,000 out of my pocket to do the work that needed to be done.
And their rehab comp is for a flip.
Yeah.
Which would be $290. His rehab comp is for a rental property. Which would probably be $270-ish.
Yeah, $270 because they're going to actually come in. They're not going to see everything repainted and everything from that side of it. You know, they're going to see what the bones are good and everything from that side, but they're not going to look at it from comping it to everything being totally done. So I will tell you that that closet above that little box that you were talking about is the staircase that goes downstairs. The reason why they had to put that box in is because it's a staircase and they gave you extra storage there.
Okay.
But then also from the other side of it, that's the only way to get into the second attic. Eric, go ahead.
Just another wrinkle. I've done something like this. And if I can come into this with a 1031 exchange, maybe 100,000 in equity, 100,000.
Testing. I've done something like this, and
if I can come into this with some equity from a 1031 exchange, maybe I come in with $100,000 with equity, okay? You know, maybe it's a $30,000 flip, then I pay $10,000 of that in taxes. It's not very exciting. But if I can keep that thing for 4 or 5 years, avoid the tax hit on my gain, get some benefit of some inflation, take down the mortgage, consolidate some capital into some nicer stuff, easier to sell. I've done many of these.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, Eric buys a house and holds it and rents it for a while, and then he flips it and makes a flip profit. So he does both. But he 1031s in it and 1031s out of it.
And he gets his cash flow from his rental each month in doing that. So, I mean, you know, from a long-term rental and everything, he's not planning on a long-term. So when we analyzed it, we was looking at a long-term rental, you know, and taking the SCR out for 7, you know, or for 30 years. So, but if you look at it short-term, it will work. But again, what are you changing? Because I can definitely tell you from a standpoint of a landlord, if we're not changing a lot of things in here, that you're not get that, your tenant's gonna call you and say, or, you know, the water heater's broke down, the furnaces, you know, the cages, you know, the squirrel cage is gone or whatever, you're gonna be changing some things. So from that point, and we don't really consider that. We turn around, we take vacancy and property management under consideration when we look at rentals and what it's gonna cost us and how much our cash flow is. But when we take consideration of everything that comes along and those incidentals that, you know, a tenant calls you and says, hey, you know, furnace this year didn't kick on and you need to charge the AC. And it's like, all right, you charge it and find out that you've got a leak and, you know, you got to change a line set, you got to change this or change that. That's just extra money and it takes, you know, consider this, a roof, it takes 5 years of your cash flow to replenish if you have to replace a roof. You know, a furnace, AC unit takes 3 to 4 years on an AC unit to replenish your cash flow. You know, nowadays with the prices of everything. So obviously in Eric's situation, he's not really worried about that because obviously when he finishes it and he flips it out and in the market, he's going to obviously take care of it from that side. But he's obviously got the cash flow short term on a basis of a rental.
And he doesn't have just one house. So when you have more than one house, you don't need the big pile of reserves that one house needs because you can spread that over several houses. If I got that right.
You got that, but at the same point, we also look at that same thing, profit first, and we say, okay, overall profit from that, but technically we should be analyzing each deal and seeing how much profit we're actually holding. But although we take very little because we have a portfolio, and then when something gets really hit, we take all that profit that we were supposed to divide, and that's what he teaches. And when you divide it, you're supposed to actually look at every house as an individual profit from each one and break it down and hold that profit. But lots of times we'll turn around and say over all of our cash flow, we'll say, okay, we're getting $2,000 in cash flow or whatever it is, and we'll just throw it in a bucket. But one house actually takes back that cash flow. Michelle, you want to add to that?
Well, I just wanted to say, in that situation, if you think about it, if you only have reserves for your portfolio,
If you only had reserves for your portfolio and you really weren't thinking about it person to person, think about it, we have 4 roofs from this last hailstorm.
Yeah.
And if you weren't ready for that 2% that just got changed and you were thinking you had a $2,000 thing and you got a $10,000 thing, you know, you can eat up those reserves very quickly if you weren't paying attention.
So, and that's exactly right, especially when you turn around and you buy 3 houses in the same neighborhood, you know, or in the same zip code. And all of a sudden this hailstorm that just came through, this flash flood water and everything else that came through in Kansas City, Kansas, hit all 3 houses at once, you know, and tenants calling you, hey, we got water coming in, we got this, we got in the basement, we got this, that, and the other. So, you know, when the shingles are blown off. So considering that, you know, that's eating profit.
All right, let's look at another idea here. So I tried to get somebody to come in and talk about Airbnb, and all my Airbnb folks are like, yeah, we're not buying Airbnbs right now. We're keeping the ones we got, but we're not out seeking more. So I was like, okay, let's talk about PadSplits. And Mike Don's like, what's a PadSplit? I'm like, okay, Don. So a PadSplit is renting by the room. So you, and that's not common in Kansas City, but my son lived in California and Las Vegas, and that was how he got a rental property out there, was to rent a room in a house with other people that he did not know. And LeAnn, when I went on PadSplit or some website I went on, LeAnn has a whole bunch of them that she manages. So LeAnn, would this house make a good PadSplit with some work?
With some work, yes. So Gladstone is a fantastic area, especially for a PadSplit. You'd be surprised how many people are looking for opportunities like this. So I took the numbers that you had from your original budget, and then I changed what we would need to do in order to make it a PadSplit unit. So in order for a PadSplit to have as many rooms as possible, their rule is 4 rooms, which is 4 individual people per bathroom. So you would have to finish out the second bathroom to get those additional rooms. You really want to get over 6 rooms, depending on your rent rates that you're going to get in those houses, to get a steady cash flow and make it as profitable as possible. So with that second bathroom in this home, because it just kind of kept going and going and going in the basement, and because there's a dining room and a living room, you can wall those off and make it into 8 bedrooms. And so all of this is based off of 8 bedrooms. So her base budget was $54,836 and some change. Things that I removed from a normal scope of work that we wouldn't do in a PadSplit rehab is we wouldn't address the garage door replacement because it's fine and it's operable. Nobody's gonna park it in anyway, so we just wanna make sure that it locks and it's safe. We would not do the garage door opener, obviously, for the same reasons. Those were $870 and $500. No upgrade to the granite. We would just make sure that the countertops are safe and clean, keep them operable. Same thing with the cabinets. We wouldn't replace the cabinets. We want as minimal storage space as possible. Anybody that has multifamily, you know that if you have storage space, nooks and crannies, that is bugs and junk and stuff that you don't want to deal with, right? So we try to minimize as much as possible. So the fact that this is a smaller kitchen with smaller cabinets was also a benefit. For storage, we can always throw in a cabinet, freestanding cabinet or something like that without doing the whole cost of $5,000 that she had budgeted for the cabinets. So my adjusted budget, that took it down to $46,600 and some change. Additional charges to make it a PadSplit. So for those basement windows, for those basement rooms, you do have to have egress windows for a point of exit, right? So our egress windows, we're budgeting about $4,000 a window, so that's $8,000 for 2 egress windows for those 2 rooms to make them functional. And then in addition to that, for the build out, so building the rooms between the dining room and the kitchen, that's about $800 a room for that. You know, building the sheetrock, adding the walls, adding the doors, making it into an individual bedroom. Sometimes with those big high ceilings, you're gonna have to close it off all the way up to the ceiling, right? So the sheetrock price is gonna go up a little bit. Soundproofing, getting some insulation on those walls is really important because from a management perspective, the less calls you get from a noisy neighbor, the better. So if you can do that on the front end, that's always good. Smart locks for all the doors, front doors, all the bedroom doors, that's how they access in and out, so you can manage it remotely as well. So if somebody locks themselves out, as you move in and move out, that's budgeted at $600, and then we do provide washer and dryer, so $1,350 for those appliances. So that brought my budget kind of a little bit more than yours, but 57 and a little bit more. So $57,000 was the budget for this one. As far as rental rates, I kept this very conservative on the low end. So you compare it to 1-bedroom apartments, right? And then you divide it by 4.2 because they're paying by week in a PadSplit house. So on the low end for the larger rooms, it's going to be about $175, $180 a week. For the smaller rooms, we're looking at $155, $165. There really is a sweet spot with this PadSplits too, because if you get below what we found, below the $155 a week, you're dealing with a lot more tenant issues. You have more people not paying. It's kind of the break point of a good tenant versus a bad tenant on that weekly rate, if that makes sense. So monthly potential rent, again, on a conservative side is $5,120 for an 8-bedroom build out. Now, additional fees are management fees. So if you do it through the PadSplit site and you're not managing it as a rent by room on your own, their fee is 8%. It can go up depending on that, but our fee with them is 8%, and then we have an additional management fee that we charge just for managing it, because PadSplit doesn't do the maintenance calls and all the things, right? So management fees are about $600 a month on that. You also pay for cleaning, lawn care, all utilities, trash, and internet, and then the paper goods. So we do a stock in the beginning. So we'll supply dishwasher pods, laundry pods, all the things, and then after that we're just restocking cleaning supplies and paper products. Some people don't in PadSplits, but my rule is I would rather them use toilet paper than get creative, and so I'll spend money at Costco to pay for toilet paper, right? So, yeah, everybody laughing knows why that's true. Yeah. So monthly recurring charges are $1,490, so that's where I came up with my math. So on the low conservative end, on the rent rate, we're looking at $29.64 as your cash flow on that from a rental. So from a PadSplit perspective, I say yes. The build out is just a little bit more to get just that much more income.
So are we changing, we're keeping all the appliances, we're keeping all the HVAC, or what are we doing?
So I kept all the same changes that she did. So updating the flooring, all new paint, trim, wall, ceiling, changing out the appliances, making it safe and clean. That's our biggest goal, right? And so also you still have to market it, and you want people to want to live there, right? And so you still want it to look nice. And so all the changes that she had done, we budgeted for as well.
8 rooms, right?
8 rooms.
Where do 8 cars park?
That is on my negative list for this. So that is the biggest issue. So it is a single car garage, and it is a longer driveway, but that was one of the things of my potential issues that I had with this one. So parking is the major one. It really depends on the neighborhood. If there's a lot of original owners, if it's not a high rental area, then you're gonna get a lot of complaints, and it's not gonna be worth it. So that's one of the main issues. Parking is always there. So for PadSplits, if you have dual parking driveways, if there's a way to add an additional lane and maybe even pull it around the back of the house, there was some room on the side, that could be an option as well, but that was one of the downsides, was the parking.
Are you pulling permits and letting the cities know? Because like, I'm in an R1 neighborhood and I fight, because I didn't buy my house to have a multi-family moving in next to me and 8 cars going in. It's not happening. So I have issues with that when people are going in and destroying an R1 neighborhood for greed, because that's all it is.
Well, I would say this neighborhood.
But are you going to the city and getting approval for that?
For the cities that require the permits for the things that we're changing, we are. Each city looks at it differently. I think the city of Gladstone looks at this as like an extended stay. Different cities have different rules, and so it just depends on what that is. I will say a lot of people that we've rented to in PadSplit homes, not all of them have their own vehicles, and so we look for options that are close to public transit. A lot of people have people that pick them up, but I would say per every house we have 2 that have 8, and both of those only have 4 cars of drivers.
So is this like primarily you want to have this in like Argentina, Israel, or cruise?
I think there's opportunity in all those areas. Close to public transit is always good. We have 3 in Blue Springs that do phenomenal. I have 1 in Grand. Yeah. Am I about to get in trouble? But
Brian's neighbor.
It's your neighbor.
Do you want me to speak on it? Or?
I mean, there's issues, right? There's issues in everything, just like dealing with rentals and dealing with multifamily, right? But we have 1 in Grandy that does really well too. So it really just depends on the city and where you're located and the neighborhoods that you're in. Obviously, we're going to have a conversation after this, but tell me what I don't know. But
well, you probably know it.
Yeah,
they don't.
yeah. But
it's a property tax situation.
It doesn't change.
So this doesn't.
Not yet.
So
right.
With a PadSplit right now,
it's not registered like an Airbnb. It's registered just like a rental on a business license.
So it's not. Right now, there's no rules around it. Just like there were no rules around Airbnb. So
it's only a matter of time.
It's under the radar right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, obviously,
Here we go.
obviously, some of the rules are a little bit different too. I mean, even when you look at PadSplit or something like that, there's obviously PadSplit that actually, there's actually a manager in the house that actually does it. And that works a little bit better. If you've got a house and you're the house manager and you're sharing your house, obviously PadSplit is good for that. And I would definitely tell you, the World Cup, the World Cup's coming next year. If you've got rooms like this, it makes sense. But I will definitely tell you that the house that Kyle's talked about in Independence is like this, but it's got a 2-car garage and it's double driveway, double deep, and it also has another area to actually park a car on the side. So that could be gravel. So it makes a great PadSplit. But lots of parking. That's the only drawback I see to the one. I wouldn't have known that it was a PadSplit until I seen all the cars. And it's at a 4-way stop. And being at a 4-way stop, and we've got 6 cars parked out there. Lots of times, I mean, I can definitely tell you that she's probably keeping, your average on that is probably 4 to 5 tenants in that house constantly. It's not the full 8.
That's been fully occupied for the last 4 months.
So they don't all have cars.
They don't all have cars.
But we don't want to do this in Lawrence because you can't have some, or Shawnee.
Or Mission.
Or Mission. So there's certain, you gotta check with the rules because some cities have said no more than so many unrelated parties in certain kinds of housing.
Yeah, and different cities have different regulations. They call it different things, right? And some of them treat it like a hotel, some of them don't. KCMO would be tough because you got tenant rights groups and all the healthy home stuff that you have to do. Grandview has a rental program and a rental inspection program, and they were very involved during our rehab for this PadSplit. They've been really, really good to work with and really easy, and we haven't had any major issues in our Grandview location. So it really just depends on the municipality and honestly the inspector that you work with and how that goes.
Do you furnish them?
We do furnish them. That was some other expenses that I had. Sorry, I didn't talk about that. For our month, where did I put that? I did. I lost it on my notes. So we furnish all of them. So it's about $5,500 across the board for an 8-room house for fully furnished, and that's not. We don't do any communal living spaces. We don't have a living room. We don't have a TV. They have their own TVs, right? So we provide the bed. We provide really a desk and a chair in all the rooms. And if it doesn't have a closet, then we'll provide, a hanging rack or an armoire or something like that for them for clothing storage. But that's really it. It's pretty bare bones. We don't provide bedding. We don't do anything like that. We do the mattress covers, and we take care of that. I think PadSplit was originally set up for, week by week, and whenever we got into it, I really thought it was going to be more transient workers, traveling nurses, traveling construction people, and it's really turned into more longer tenancy than I realized it was going to be. A lot of older people who can't afford to live on their own, but aren't old enough to live in skilled care or nursing care or don't want to move in with family. And so that's probably been the biggest surprise to me is there's a lot of older people that are kind of looking for community, and we do have mother hens in almost every one of them who they're kind of our person and they kind of run everything, and so it's a different experience, that's for sure.
I'll just give you advice. I mean, if I could get it done, any of your tenants over there and still parking on Locust, they can park. There's a 4-way they can actually park over there, and if you spread it out, I guarantee you our subdivision would probably be a little bit more gracious.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when they rent it instead of parking, you got 2 cars on this side, 2 cars on this side, and we're coming up on that stop sign.
Hey, Brian,
It's hard.
It's not our complaint department.
No,
he's got an ear right here that can make it happen.
Yeah.
So we'll work on it. We'll make it happen.
That's why we have a community. We can help each
Absolutely.
other.
Got a question back here.
Oh, we got a question. So
I was just curious where I encountered this was when I was in college in DC.
Yep.
Students, are you finding this around any of the campuses like UMKC, or is that who's renting these?
So we personally don't, I think there are some that are in the UMKC, the college area. It's a little bit harder to get into the UMKC side and the inner city because there's just so many different programs that are going on there already. It did start in Atlanta. That's where PadSplit started, was in Atlanta, and it started from student housing. The guys that started the program lived in student housing like that, and they're like, why can't we create this everywhere else? And so that's how it started. But it would be fantastic for student housing because they're already kind of used to that in dorms. But we don't have any in that area. I think a lot of people stay away from it because it's KCMO. KCMO makes it hard.
So all of our developers, if you can figure out how to build an apartment complex that is designed for PadSplit. When I moved to Colorado, I was like, I don't know anybody, and there was a PadSplit community. So it was a brand new apartment complex, 4 bedrooms to a kitchen and bathroom, and then it had all common area in the basement parking garage. It was fabulous. But I wasn't going to the college, so they wouldn't let me live there. So they build them in the colleges, so we need apartments to be, somebody to develop that and build those. I bet the city would work with us because we need more housing and it would be great.
Especially, you got to look at Kansas City. Kansas City's got more one-bedroom. They got more one-bedroom vouchers for Section 8 than they have anything else. But there's not enough one-bedroom. And the only thing that doesn't work about PadSplit is they're sharing, and everything it's sharing. That's the reason why the city says no, or should I say, Section 8 says no, that you can't do it because you're sharing everything else. This makes sense. You got a washer, you got a dryer, you got everything, you got your kitchen and everything. And if you could do this would meet some of the, income, affordable housing in Kansas City, but it's not doing it.
I do know a guy in Kansas who this is what he does for a business where he provides these properties for special needs adults. And so the state actually pays for the rooms and everything, but he has to have certain requirements on doors have to lock and do all that stuff to protect everybody. So it is possible, but it's just how you got to get there.
Yes. Is Michael here tonight? Michael, would you share what you messaged me on Facebook?
Who cleans the common areas? We pay for a cleaning company. Like weekly, monthly.
What you're making on a PadSplit. So Michael does PadSplits. He used to work for PadSplit.
Yeah, many of you used to know I used to work for PadSplit. I've been doing co-living houses across the country for about 6 years now. It's my 10th year in real estate. I currently operate 16 PadSplits here in Kansas City. Wow. Last month we did over 50,000 in gross revenue. We're expecting to do by the end of Q3 about 100,000 in gross revenue. Most houses gross, like LeAnn said, 45 to 55. What we see really is if you can add in private bathrooms, that's where you can really jump up into a 7-8 bedroom house. You're grossing over $7,000 a month. So some of our houses, we actually convert the closet that's big enough to a 30-inch pan with a 12-inch vanity and a toilet, and those really rent from the $225 to $250 a month. That's really where we see massive cash flow. But
are you doing full baths or half baths?
stand-up showers, so full or 3/4 full. But yeah, we have a company, Co-Living Concierge. We operate really turnkey for you. We'll help find the deals for you. We'll get bids. We'll furnish it for you, really, and operate it for you as well. But if anyone wants to talk, yeah, I've been in co-living for quite a while, so.
So who else would do something else? Okay, we got questions. We're going to come back here to.
Are the standard size that you need to perform the bedroom? Or closet, door, whatever?
Yeah, it's, I don't know the exact measurements. He might be able to tell you a little bit better than I can, but you have to have enough room in there for at least a twin size bed and personal storage. So whatever that looks like. And then based off of the size of the room, whether it's, smaller, standard, or large, is where they kind of help you fix your price point or where you can kind of escalate your price point.
Because Iola has standard roof size. So I don't know if you follow that.
70 square feet?
I think it's.
Okay. Okay. Bruce. Bill.
I just wanted to add, I've been to Rogers Park in Chicago. There's a turn of the century house there, 5 bedrooms on the second floor, They rent per night. Main floor's got living room, dining room, extra TV room, full kitchen, and it's a really, really nice place because you can just rent it by the night, but it's always full. You know, I don't know what the profit margin would be on that. And the last time I was there was about a year ago. It was only $50.
It's nice. The profit must be amazing because they're cleaning that every time.
Okay, I have the negative Nancy vision, okay? So I'll give everybody.
That's the reason why she's down there. That's the reason why she's down there.
No, what I want to know is when you're looking at your investment, you always have to look at all your exits. So should this get shut down in a city somewhere, how hard is it and how expensive is it to un-PadSplit?
That's a great question. So we looked at that as well. And to un-PadSplit is we would have to take down the walls that we set up to divide into the individual rooms, which are mainly the dining rooms and the kitchens and the basements that had, full rec rooms that we divided into, 2-3 bedrooms, whatever. So removing the sheetrock, so you got the demo, the tear down, and then any floor repairs. And really where we're at, that's it. Is just the demo of the floors and fixing any damages from that demo and the floors usually.
Could we take them and turn them into residential assisted living? Probably not, because that's 2-bedroom-ish. Residential assisted living would want more common area, I would think.
It kind of depends on the program, like what he was saying. We, on our separate side, on the property management side, we manage for a couple companies like that, and each house is different, and it just depends on what their standard is. Usually it's ranch houses that are easily accessible.
All right. Any questions?
Hey, Don, I do have a question. Did the master on this house have a bathroom in it?
No.
It did not. Okay.
No.
So I was curious, you talked about the rent is paid weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So are you leasing to people, or is this that they're there for a week and they move on and somebody else comes in?
So that's all managed by PadSplit. So they pay PadSplit weekly. The lease is actually directly with PadSplit. We don't have individual leases with the tenants. Then they have membership agreements with PadSplit. So it allows them to move from property to property as needed. So if they're a transient worker, right, then they can work in Kansas City, rent a room from us, and then let's say they go to Chicago, then they can just move within PadSplit and not have to do different applications and things like that. But PadSplit collects the rent, and then they send us our owner distribution and all of our charges like that. We do the maintenance calls and deal with the move-ins. You approve the move-ins, they do a base application. Then they send you, hey, Joe's interested in moving in tomorrow. Here's his information. Do you approve him? Do you deny him? So you still have some control over that. PadSplit doesn't have all that control. They still do the background checks and things like that. And so it's a little bit different structure, but they essentially manage that whole process.
So but it's running through an app like Airbnb?
It's running through an app just like Airbnb, and then they also syndicate to all the marketing channels like Zillow and everything else.
So how many to a room, and is pets allowed, and how do you manage that?
Only one person allowed per room. Pets are only allowed if they are a certified service animal, and PadSplit does all that approval and verification. Like my company, we use a pet screening service whenever it's just individual renting, and so it takes all the liability off of us for saying yes or no for a service animal. PadSplit does all that verification. We have had someone move in a dog before that wasn't a service animal, and they had 24 hours to either move out or remove the pet. I have not came across a service animal that's been in the home yet.
Can you have visitors?
You are allowed visitors, but they have to be out by quiet hours. Again, it's dealing with people, it's dealing with management. People follow the rules about as well as they do in any other rental, right? And so that's probably the difference of managing is but that's probably the difference between managing this as a single family property versus managing it as essentially a multifamily property. Is you're going to deal with the roommate issues, you're going to deal with the things that like the pets that they're sneaking in, you're going to deal with so-and-so ate my food, and all those little things that you hire me and I'll deal with it so you guys don't have to.
That's why you're charging more.
So you're more of a social worker than a property manager.
I mean, we could write books. Yep.
What is this animal screening company?
I'm sorry?
PetScreening.com?
PetScreening.com. Yep, and they're fantastic, and they do all the background checks, and they will certify everything with the vet. So if you have somebody that creates a fake document and says, here, it's a certified pet, they're gonna make those calls, and they're the ones that say no, not us.
All right, we've all learned something.
So, just two questions, for the insurance, do you have to buy additional insurance, and does PadSplit has at least like Airbnb and Air Comfort, right? Is there some minimum coverage from Airbnb from the PadSplit?
Insurance, the coverage does go up, and it depends on your provider on how they cover it. Some will cover it as single family, but treat it like an Airbnb, and some people will treat it as multifamily. So I say people, companies, but each company is different.
Is our NREG guy still here? He said he was gonna be here till this evening, so if he's still here and out in the hallway, we'll have to hit him up afterward.
I think he left.
I think he did.
He's a bar.
I asked him a couple of times, he left.
Well, home is Oklahoma, and he's not going there till tomorrow, so I know he's in town overnight. All right, any more questions? Shall we have a meeting on just PadSplits? All right, sounds like it.
One more question for the flipper guys. Will you be if you add an additional like an ADU or something, do you think that will increase your resale value in today's market? Like a small ADU at the backyard or something.
I probably wouldn't, but I guess I don't.
Microphone, use the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I probably wouldn't, because it's just additional costs that I don't know if I'm gonna get that refund or, return on. But I guess I haven't looked that much into that, so I'm not sure.
I would say if you were in Denver,
Yeah.
yes, but maybe not in Kansas City. We have plenty of housing here, but I know in Denver they need more housing as fast. And I got a friend he put an ADU in the backyard of the house he was rehabbing, and it added like $200,000 to the value of it. But that's Denver prices, not Kansas City prices.
It's people moving from California.
As a lender, you're going to have trouble getting comps because ADUs are pretty rare still in Kansas City. And if you can't get comps, the person trying to buy it is financing it makes it harder to remarket that. And that's market specific. My sister's in LA, and ADUs are common.
Yeah. We're not common here yet, so we got a few years to go. Brian.
Well, I was just gonna poll the audience and find out, is it flipping, seller financing, renting, or pad splitting? So let's start with pad splitting. How many's interested in doing a pad split on this? Okay. How many's looking to flip it? That's a good deal. How many is looking to hold it as a long-term rental? Okay. How many is willing to sell or finance it?
All right.
Brian, I had a question for you on your seller finance here in the back. I wanted to confirm, you were planning on purchasing the property and then seller financing it to an end buyer, is that correct?
Right.
So you would be tying up $150,000 and then you take out a 30-year note.
Right.
Okay.
Or he'd go find a partner to help him do it.
Yeah, yes and no. It all depends. I mean, obviously, in different ones right now, we're looking at how we actually, I don't like, from the standpoint of having a private investor that's looking for the cash flow and everything, they would take out the actual buy price or the investment up front. So it could be that they do that side just to be able to get the passive income in place of it without tenants and tenants.
So you bring in other people's money at 6% and then you go ahead and sell or finance for 9%.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have a class on wrap notes coming up.
It could be a little bit different than that too. I mean, they could actually, depending on how we structure it, their yield could be a little bit greater as well.
Now, if all three parties up there at the stage had $500,000 in their bank account and no properties in their portfolio, would that change your direction and what you would choose to do with this property?
I'd still sell or finance it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to build wealth a lot longer on the backside of seller financing.
Yeah.
There's a reason the banks are the biggest buildings in town.
Yeah, holding that paper is a whole lot, on the backside. Just a small education. Obviously, a 30-year loan, the first 15 years is what? Interest. So, what is the most profitable part of that note? But, obviously there's opportunity in note holding.
So if you bought the house and rehabbed it, and 2008 happened like right in the middle of your rehab, and you couldn't sell it, you couldn't flip it, it's still rentable or seller financed.
Yep, that's it.
And at the same time, if you seller financed it, but you needed the money out of it, you might have to take a hit, but you could sell the note to somebody else.
That's right.
And LeAnn can PadSplit it.
PadSplit it, but I could stay in that same note too to protect the investor as well.
Or you can sell it to a family that needs 8 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
I've got
and
one
there
right
are people
now.
like that.
I've got one right now that has plenty of parking, off-street parking.
I'm getting the hint. It's got, we'll make some calls tomorrow.
Technically, that two-car garage in the back, she should be renting that out as space.
Yep.
So,
It's
anyway.
storage.
Well, it's storage for you guys, but they're renting it to somebody else for storage is awesome.
Well,
to add to that. But,
you can rent I would put a new garage door and a garage door opener because you can rent garages by I found an app, you can rent just the garage.
I forget about the app, but I've got it,
And you can charge more to give somebody access to have garage access, right? But it creates more tenant issues. So-and-so parked behind and I can't get out of the garage, and so.
I was saying for storage.
Just for storage, you break that up in a 2-car garage that she has over in Blue Springs, just run a wall down the center of it and rent both sides out.
So, on your PadSplit thing, the number you gave, for 4,500 or whatever, correct? So that's at 100% rented out. So, what's your numbers on how often it's actually at 100%?
So that's a good question. So vacancy, it really depends on your rent rate, right? So we learned that the hard way when we were playing with these numbers the last time. So we have, especially the Grandview house. So we had to lower the rent to get it fully occupied, and then it created more issues with the tenants that were suitable for that rent rate, right? And so we keep the rent rates a little bit higher so that it's less that we have to deal with on that end. But it's, we have 2 that are fully occupied and 2 that have 2 rooms vacant, and those vacant rooms have been vacant for 3 months.
So like on that property from Locust, on that one, how often out of the year are you at 100%?
So that one's been occupied pretty consistently. We've had a couple turns, so we've had a couple people move out after staying for 30, 45 days, and then we do a turn, and then the next week somebody moves in. So the vacancy kind of ebbs and flows that way. But out of the last 11 months that it's been a PadSplit, it's been fully occupied for 8.
That property is actually ideal for 6. I mean, it's made for 8, right?
It has 8.
Yeah.
Tell me how you really feel. Oh, I'm well aware. I see the restraint in his face. I have a feeling we're going to be here for a little bit longer after this is over. I think it's the other way around, right? I'm buying imagery. Yeah.
All right. I thought I saw a hand back here in the corner. I'm imagining things. All right. Got all my questions.
This has been fun, guys.
Did we learn something?
There's a house on Locust that needs more people.
No,
it's fully occupied. Fully occupied.
As long as they don't have cars. They got their walking shoes on. Scooters.
So before you leave, you're going to sign up for the classes. What Brian was talking about was buying a house with a note and then seller financing and wrapping a note around that. We have a wrap class coming up in July. So if you want to learn how to do that, it's a great way. They're approaching it from either being a private lender and lending a small amount taking your small amount and wrapping a bigger amount from somebody else around it to lend, but it's also a great way to borrow a second position though to finish your rehab.
Somebody who just is looking to, you know, as I've done this for many years, and I've had, you know, lenders or an investor call me up and say, hey, I've got this certain amount, a dollar amount that is not working in my IRA. What can you do with it? You know, it's a perfect opportunity to be able to invest those dollars and still get a good return, constant return, backed by and secured by the property itself. You know, so, and the good thing about that is I'm still in the deal. I'm not gonna let it go south on you, you know, because I'm invested on that deal as well as you are.
All right, so we're gonna sign up for our master classes. We're gonna join if we're not yet a member. We're gonna join so you can see me or Holly before you leave. What else? And we're gonna stick around and ask them some more questions because I know they're not booking right away. But I know Brian and Michelle are going to go home fairly early because they got an early morning meeting, so they never sleep. So, did we all learn something? Yes, let's give them a warm round of applause. All right, thanks for coming, and we will see you at the trade show, if not before.
I gotta go explain some so I'll be around for a minute.
Sorry, like right as the it's like right on the other side.
What was it called?
Now this is
It's at Waldo Cafe in 75th and Warren. We're in the back room. Come and see us. It brings up 8:30 meeting, and then 9:30 meeting, and then 11 o'clock break up.
I was going to ask this guy, what's your connection to Iola? Oh, well, I manage a property there, and then I've got a family that's trying to get rid of 2 properties. They need to be rehabbed, and they've got a bunch of other ones, and so